Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wildcard Weekend. So we had our Wildcard Weekend this week. Wasn't a whole lot of surprises, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. So let me start things off with some news from around the league. Obviously, you know where I'm going to go. Yeah, that's right, baby. The Chiefs beat the Patriots at Foxborough, ending a 21-game home win streak. So way to go, Chiefs. My man Kelsey here pulls off a wildcat, runs in a touchdown, so everything was going well. Now, it did look like they were going to come back and in usual Patriot fashion, but it seemed like the stars aligned and the refs made some calls that maybe were somewhat questionable in some nature, but hey, it happens to everyone else, and it was finally time that it happened to the Patriots. And even more fitting that it happened to them at home, where they got booed by their own fans at halftime. Man, talk about unsportsmanlike conduct. Right there you go. So, with the Chiefs win, they clinched the AFC West, so congratulations to them. At least they're going to be making a playoff appearance. Hopefully things work out and we get all the way to the end this year, but we'll see. Also, man, it was a good weekend for football. I think that they said that, I was listening to it on the news this morning, that it was, I think, tied for like the 5th most touchdowns in NFL history this weekend. So there was a lot of touchdown action happening around the league. A lot of it happened in the 49ers and the Saints game. So that was a great game if you guys didn't get a chance to see that. Lots of scoring going on there. I think Drew Brees they were debating it on the radio today. I think they said 6 touchdowns, 5 through the air and 1 on the ground. But I'm not sure. I have to go back and double check that. But the Niners, they pulled out a win in the end. So they're for real this year. They're legit. So you may be looking at one of the Super Bowl contenders there when you're looking at the 49ers. All right, so enough about the NFL. Let's talk about the XFFL. So I know you guys are interested in it. All our regular season was over, so all the awards like the High Score Award and the Dead Ass Last Award and all that stuff is done. So we know, everybody knows that Milt Tooks is Dead Ass Last. So let me just make sure that we cover that just in case we missed it from last week. So let's go ahead and jump into the games of the week. So in the championship bracket, Wildcard Weekend wasn't such a good day for wildcard teams. So all of the division winners advanced. So you had a couple that were on bye, but this week you had Kentucky Rednecks going up against RuPaul's Titans, and that game went about like we thought it would. So 147 to 110 with Kentucky Rednecks taking the win there. So they advanced to the semifinals against the Marauders next week. So the Rednecks have a lot to celebrate, and they really need to start looking at Matt Ryan, because he's kind of woke up, and he ended up getting 34 fantasy points for them this week, making him the MVP for that team. In the other conference, you had Kickers of Butte and Miller's Maniacs. Not as much of an exciting game there. Kickers of Butte squeaked that one out, 111 to 104. I know he was sweating things pretty bad, but Patrick Mahomes was his MVP with 29 points. It's not your typical Pat Mahomes game where he's throwing touchdowns all over the place, but it was enough to get the job done. So congratulations to those two guys advancing in the playoffs and going up against the people waiting in the wings, which was Coach Dan Chase and Coach Carter Pittman. So we'll be seeing them enter the action next week. The toilet bowl bracket. So how things shook out there was Tennessee Big Guns with Coach Ash. They put quite a whooping on Dirty Birds and Coach Tooks, 149 to 82. So I'm sure that Coach Tooks is feeling a sigh of relief now, because the pain can stop because it has been a dismal season for him. So maybe he can regroup for next year, but we'll see. But the MVP for that game for Coach Ash was A.J. Brown for the Titans. I'm sure that makes him happy, being a Titans fan. But he came off pretty good with 34 fantasy points. And then the other game, which was me, ICB, against the Wolfpack. Another mercy killing here, because it hasn't been a good year for the Wolfpack, but it's sweet dreams now. It's all over. So thanks to Mr. Zach Ertz, who came alive in garbage time there last night, He got 31 fantasy points, giving me a total of 131 points versus Wolfpack's 103. So I'm going to advance to the semifinals, as well as Coach Ash, and we'll be playing the people that are waiting in the wings there for us, which is Coach Copeland and for me, and Coach Lane for Bo. So we'll see how that goes for next week. Let's talk about one of the most costly mistakes in this game, and it's important that we talk about it because this could potentially be, I think it is, the swan song for Coach Jeff Miller and the Miller's Maniacs. They made a coaching move, costly mistake. They started Josh Allen over Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers had 50 fantasy points sitting on the bench, which would have been good enough to take the win and advance him into playoffs. So, unfortunately, the swan song's not going to end with a Super Bowl title this year. But, hey, Jeff, thanks for all the years. If this is truly your last year, we appreciate you being in the league, buddy, and we'll definitely be sorry to see you going. But as things go in football and fantasy football, we will carry on, and we will always remember the times that the competitions that we had against you over the years. So we'll see you around, my friend. Doesn't mean you're not going to be coming around the draft, but you won't be playing in the league anymore. But there'll always be a spot for you. All right, so enough about that. Let's go ahead and cut this thing short this week because there was only those handful of games. But what I really want you to do for me now is, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago to think about it, but I want you to submit some possible dates for our end of the season party sometime in January, so that way we can all get together, hand out the awards, give everybody the money that they earned this year, and start regrouping and start thinking about next season. Okay, so that's all I've got for this week for our Wildcard Weekend. We got a lot more action coming at you for the semifinals next weekend. So I am the commish, and I will see you around the league.